Hello friends, it's me Taka. We moved to Tokyo again to start our new chapter in quite central Tokyo this time. It's been 3 years since we moved out of Tokyo city life, because 2 years back we were actually moved down to the city, down south of Tokyo, enjoying that beach life. And last year we went to South America, Africa, like full time. So actually moving back to Tokyo is kind of like a big decision for us, but I want to kind of bring in a new perspective I gained especially from the backpacking experience that we had last year. It's like zooming out from the city life to stay away from distraction. And this time we wanted to start a new chapter of our career and the lifestyle that we have. We decided to come back to Tokyo. It really does take intention to make your life better, keep yourself happy as well. We're excited about our new chapter. So today I want to talk about what kind of perspective I'll be bringing in from the backpack experience we had into this like super city life of Tokyo.
If you're first time here, my name is Taka and I'm currently an independent management consultant in Japan, or aka freelance consultant. And I believe this channel is really about being your own first penguin. It's basically like taking that leap into something that you really want to do in life. If it's something that you want, make sure you do it, even no one else does it. Because at the end of the day, we should be doing something that really excites us, and that excitement, inspiration is something that will move us forward. So I hope I can share this journey with you, and we can all learn together along this journey. And I'll try to make this as authentic as possible. So let's go back to this video.
You can see my house. This is like a see-through window with a shower and toilet inside. I'll probably just move around today just to show you the house, inside the house as well. All right. Yes. So this is my workspace. I've got all my minimal stuff. I'm trying to keep this up because this floor is actually super small on the first floor, second floor upstairs, but it's very small here. So I'm trying to keep the space as minimal as possible, just the things that I need. What I used to bring in our backpack, except for these monitor and stuff. Yeah, so the first one is actually, I think the biggest mistake I made in 20s when I was in Tokyo was that I wasn't living intentional enough. I did not have any clarity, so it was easy for me to get really distracted. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't know what was the right action to do. I just felt like everything was happening, life was happening to me, but it was not happening by me, not initiated by me. I felt like there's a lot of things that I just didn't do it in Tokyo. There's just many friends to hang out with. There's many new entertainment that you can experience. I think it was still good to experience it. It was really enjoyable. I had a really good 20s too. But one thing that I would miss is that I did not intentionally work towards my goal. And 20 was such a precious time. 20 was such a precious time to achieve something, try to work on a couple of different goals. My goal is pretty much around being a management consultant and try to get that promotion and try to work that long hours, especially in Japan, right? And especially in Japan, working long hours is such a beautiful thing that I couldn't say no to. That was a big mistake. But indeed, the nature of consulting actually made me think more clearly. They always ask you to question on things, which I always ask questions around the projects, but I didn't ask questions for myself at that time. So I think it's something that I really wish I was being more intentional about it. So what I'm going to try to do this time is try to be more intentional by asking more questions. Like, power of question is such a strong thing. Instead of just saying it in a sentence, I do actually ask a lot more questions to myself. I use the question form to ask myself to kind of initiate the thought process behind me in my brain, which was not something I did before. One time when I was doing in a strategy consulting project, my manager actually told me to set your key issues in actual question form. Because if you don't set this in question form, it doesn't trigger the thought process behind. And I was like, oh, okay. Like at that time, I really didn't believe in like power of that question. But when I actually started doing that, it became such a strong thing for me because it was so effective because I was on autopilot mode. I never asked myself questions. What do I have to do? What is my goal? What makes you to have that clarity? So nowadays when I try to like write it down to on my notes, I always start with a question. Why? And why are you doing what you are doing? And if that thing is not helping you to get to your goals, make sure that you're not doing it. Yeah, so this is like how I'm trying to live more intentional in the city, kind of a city life. There's a lot of things you can do now, but I want to make sure that I achieve my goals, whether starting a new businesses or building a network that you really want, or exploring something different, exploring different cities, all that kind of things. Make sure that I have clarity. I ask why. Power of question to sort of navigate myself is one thing that I want to do this time. So now I show you, now let's try to go up. So it's got like actually two floors you can see here. So you can see my working desk down here, and it's on my this is like the second floor. So the second point for me, and I think it's same for my partner as well, is just like what I mentioned, that the room, we keep our things as minimal as possible. This is like everything we have right now. As I think you can see that there's like only kitchen, there's fridge, there's like a water server, and all that kind of like little stuff. We're trying not to bring more stuff into the room because bringing in this minimalistic approach actually comes in from the backpack that we did last year. I literally just bring one backpack to travel by bus and also the plane. We never checked in at all, like the entire 14 months. We were kind of proud of that. And we're trying to bring in this sort of like life into our new life in Tokyo as well, because the less stuff you have, the less you need to manage. So that gives you a lot of like space to think for yourself and not get distracted by all these things that you need to manage. Yeah, so I think ever since like we started this, we're less stressful, and then it's kind of easy to bring in more routine to our everyday life now. It's kind of slicky. It's something that always inspired us to do. We kind of implemented this minimalistic approach into our life ever since like we left Japan just to travel in South America and Africa. Because before that, I had a lot of stuff that we didn't want to throw away. Actually going on a backpack travel for 14 months, it actually forced us to really care about what's really necessary for us to bring to the travel with us, because we only had one backpack, basically like, a couple pair of pants and clothes, as well as like maybe a little camera and stuff for me. So like every time we go on a travel, if you're buying something new, we definitely need to throw one thing away. Or actually not buying anything at all, not buying anything that really doesn't matter to us anymore, because what we do is we focus on the experience. We don't want to buy more things to make ourselves happy, but we can live with the very simple stuff now, but we can focus so much on the experience. So this is like kind of minimalistic approach, but I think it's not about reducing things or reducing what we have, but it's more about letting things go so that new things that matters to you will come into your life. I think that's always like a really big learning. But nowadays, like, we have minimal stuff and it just gave us so much nice space. Yeah, so yes, and one thing is that we are not going to get more boxes to contain something. So having boxes means you can stuff more stuff in. It's kind of similar to Parkinson's law on how you use up as much time as you have. It's the same for like physical things as well. We try not to bring in more boxes and containers and everything. If this is the container we had, then this is the only container that we'll be using, and we do not want to buy more stuff just to contain something. And I don't know about you, but I think being in a city is really about like this social life. Social plans is always something to consider when it comes to living in the city. I used to meet a lot of different people back then, but I was young probably. But there's recently that I'm being very careful about like the people that I meet, especially people that sort of like the people that brings negative energy to me or makes me tired. I literally just stop meeting these people. It's something that I really just being careful about because nowadays I'm also trying to bring I'm also trying to do more networking this year. That's kind of the part of the reason why I'm moving into Tokyo. So just to meet more people with different businesses and networks. I don't want to make this too much of a purpose-driven thing, but if the friends that you're meeting, if that brings you sort of like a low energy level, for example, Jay Shetty once said, average people basically talk about people, talk bad things about people, or even maybe talk about events that has something to do with people, right? So it kind of talks about the past. But how I want to intentionally make it more forward moving, hopefully that we can talk about ideas, that can inspire each other. Actually, yesterday I met the CEO who's running his company. He's very positive, he's very inspiring in terms of like moving things forward, and he talks a lot about ideas, which just gave me a lot of energy, and it's something that I always want to do as well. So being careful with the people or the social that you hang out with is very important. I guess there's sometimes that's very difficult to say no to some events. So it really kind of depends on who asked me on that. If it's about my partner, she wants me to go with her, I might not have the purpose there, but I have a big purpose of like being there for my partner. And then I would do it too. I'm willing to be there. I'm more than happy to do so. Oh wait, my camera has a heating problem, so I switched to my iPhone. Yeah, but I think the last point is I'm trying to build my own routines and rhythm, which is very important, because I don't want to allow myself to kind of bring in the unnecessary fear, unnecessary time to think about my worries and everything, because that has nothing to do, that is going to hinder the process of everything. So instead of allowing myself to do that, I want to build a small habit of like building your mentality, building your life into that. So nowadays, like I realized like in the morning, I grab my iPad trying to read something that excites me, or even sometimes read some books until I feel like I'm awake to actually move forward with my things. I actually bought a chair that looks nice, but it's not very comfortable. So to kind of make sure that, I get out of my chair every 1 hour, and whenever I go out and eat, I just naturally chain that to another habit of going to the gym. So to refresh and reset from the work that I was doing. And I think putting more important work in the morning, like I think that's what a lot of like the productivity hack kind of people, influencers, they always talk about that. But I think that's really important for me today. Filming this and making sure that I film everything is my priority. No matter how bad it is, I still film it. Actually, I was like writing my script halfway and I was like, fuck it, I don't have time for this now. And I just moved on to filming this video. And I've also done my client work today as well. So I'm feeling like naturally quite nice today. One more thing is that I'm going to hit the gym after this to make sure that I'm build my tiny successes on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. I hope this sort of intention and perspectives are something that will bring energy to us. And I hope you may have some kind of takeaway from this video. If not, if you actually have something else that you'd like to share, please do so in a comment. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and please hit the like, comment, subscribe. All right. See you next time.